So how do we bring this down into the real world today? How has this actually affected modern people's lives? Now, in California, the California Department of Corrections hired a Seventh-day Adventist businessman to actually run a private prison. So it'd be funded by the government, but a private man would run the institution. And as he did so, what he chose to do is, now there's this health program that many of the people who are called Seventh-day Adventists follow. They follow 8 lifestyle principles, and they sum it up from this institution called WEMAR. It's called NEWSTART, which is nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. And so what they did is they took this prison with 500 inmates and they allowed them to choose, because God doesn't force people to follow him. Nobody's forced to follow God's ways, follow his principles, eat healthy or exercise. We all have the choice whether we will follow the things that God encourages us to do. And love is shown by obedience. Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments. And so they gave these prisoners, now this was a correctional facility in Adelanto, California. And they gave them, there were 2 sides to the prison that were physically, you couldn't just walk from one side to the other. You would actually choose to go to either one side or the other. And the one side was to be put on a total plant-based vegan diet, probably much whole food, these kind of things. The other side would be on the standard American prison diet. And they gave the people the choice. Now, you can imagine one of the Department of Corrections officials said, listen, these prisoners would rather burn the place to the ground than, go vegan, right? I mean, who would imagine they would want to do it? So they gave them the choice. And there are 500 inmates in the prison, and they gave them the choice. And just guess what percentage actually chose to go vegan? It was 85%. And so 85% of them chose to go vegan. So the others would go to the one side, the others would go on the other, and they're eating this plant-based diet. They're also receiving Bible studies, and but Bible studies are common in probably most every prison in the United States. Now, during this time period, while this Adventist businessman was running this prison, the recidivism rate. Now, what's that? The recidivism is the statistical rate at which a prisoner who goes to prison once for a crime, what is the statistical rate at which that prisoner will commit another crime and go back to prison? At that time, it was an astounding 95% of people in the state of California who committed a crime once would commit another crime and go back to prison. But as these prisoners who were taking Bible studies and had gone on a vegan diet, as they had totally changed their lifestyle, you know what happened? The recidivism rate dropped in that prison from 95% to 2%. Now, this is absolutely amazing. Now, what would have happened if he would have continued running that prison and this would have spread to prisons across the nation? Could it be just like the alcoholics? Could it be just like alcoholics are less happy with less diverse gut bacteria? Could it be toddlers who have less diverse gut bacteria? And could it be that people just in general would be happier and less prone to alcoholism, cigarettes, drugs, pornography, all the addictions that people struggle with? Could it be that if they had a healthy gut and they were eating the foods the way that God intended them to eat, that they would actually be happier and less likely to struggle with addiction?